Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. We're going to be checking out Star Wars issue 40 by Charles Soule and Madabak Musabekov today. Lando's mission to help Lobot continues as he finally reveals his adventures to Princess Leia, who after a few choice words for Lando, teams with him and Luke to track Lobot to Epiconia, the planet the Scourge has taken over to transmit its signals out to the larger galaxy. Up until now, Soule has kept a lot of the main portion of the Dark Droids story in that main Dark Droids book. Hasn't really spilled out into these other tie-ins, but as of this issue he branches out and includes a pretty big chunk of the main plot in this book, revealing that Scourge is getting ready to send out droid controlled ships to spread even further into the galaxy. On one hand, I like that it was kept rather contained to the main book, but on the other hand, it's about time the other series got actively involved into it, especially the Rebel side of things, since they've had barely any interaction with the Scourge and technically aren't even the main heroes of the event. The Rebels arrive on Epiconia and confront the Scourge horde to try and free Lobot, and Lando takes charge, leading the group against the droids, and he will stop at nothing to get his friend back. Soule also continues the flashbacks Lando and Lobot have been getting in the last couple of issues, and unlike the previous issue where I didn't think the flashback was used rather well, it's done to great effect this issue. We see Lando and Lobot on Alderaan at some point in the past, and they are talking about Lando's luck and how despite what he'll say and act like, he's really just getting by on the skin of his teeth, like literally by his luck. It's portrayed really nicely, and there's a great visualization of Lando's luck as he deliberately interrupts a couple's romantic boat ride on a nearby lake, and he ends up talking his way out of it, which is something only Lando could do. It's a fantastic showcase of how cocky and sure of himself Lando is, and Lobot is there to be sure to be his grounding rod and remind him that sooner or later that luck is going to run dry and the people are going to come calling for their debts, and he's going to need to repay a lot of things that he's done in the past, and the people he's manipulated or called friends in the past will turn on him. Lando, of course, is so sure that his luck will never run out, that will never actually happen, and I like that it gives him a sense of duty to his friends, hence why he'll do anything to save Lobot, and he wants the other heroes to see that, especially since Lobot was pretty integral in a lot of the recent adventures him and the rebellion went on, and if not for him, the rebels wouldn't even be around to battle the Scourge, they'd still be stuck in no space. A big chunk of the issue is set around Lando's talk with Leia early in the book, and it's just so well written, and Soule gives ample time to both Lando and Leia to air their grievances with one another and show each side of the story, and I like that both come to the agreement that they need to help their friends, and that's the thing that keeps them together. Soule is also sure to focus in a little bit on Lobot as well, since he's been taken over by the Scourge, and kind of uses him as the face of the Scourge this issue, since these books have been so separated, they haven't actually even met Scourge Prime or Scourge 1 or whatever you want to call him, the big main villain that is still on the Scourge 1 Star Destroyer. They haven't even met that character yet, so they need a stand-in more or less for the main villain, and I like that Soule is using Lobot for that in this book, and each of the books kind of have their own stand-in main villain with the Lance and Tolvan and some of the droids in the D-Squad book, and I like that about the event, that it's actually got one singular villain who's able to spread out into multiple bodies and use them as a main villain in these tie-ins. And I do wish he really had used Lobot a bit more as a foil for Lando, having him kind of mess with his mind a little more and use the memories that it now has access to trip Lando up and cause him to make mistakes, and would have also strengthened Lando's overall arc of doing whatever he can to get Lobot back, and that could lead him to maybe even betraying the heroes if it means he could get his friend back, something we've seen him do countless times in the past in this very book. But as we are rapidly approaching the end, I can understand why Soule didn't go that route. He could go that route a little bit sooner in the book had we gotten to this part sooner in the event. Since we are nearing the end, he's kind of got to wrap it all up, but what he's been doing with Lando has been fantastic, and just making making him the focus of the last couple of issues has been really great for his character and really expanded on the character who, when he first started, as I said in my last review, when he first started out, he was just a carbon copy of Han and kind of a stand-in for Han because Harrison Ford might not have come back, so they needed a new smuggler character, and he's come so far in the last couple of years from that, and I really appreciate what Soule has been doing with the character. Overall, Star Wars issue 40 was a very character-focused, action-packed joyride that pushed the event forward in a big way as our stories are beginning to converge and Lando's adventure to regain his friend is reaching its climax. I'm looking forward to seeing how Soule unwraps this all for us in the coming issues and what will become the Scourge in the future and Lando and Lobot's relationship. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.